Welcome, everyone, to episode 15 of the Unintentional Journeyman. It is the 19th of November, 2022. We are getting ready to play Gloucester on a drizzly 46-degree Saturday afternoon. And a lot has happened since we've last spoken. We've had some broken legs of perhaps a fortuitous touch, as much as I hate to say that. We've had some positive results that make me think that, wow, we're doing okay. And we've had a run of negative results that make me think, wow, once again, we're going to be in this seesaw battle that's going to take us down to the last week of the season in a fight for relegation. So without further ado, let's kind of give a little bit of a rundown of what's happened and where we are. And then we'll get right into the match against Gloucester. So if we look at the table, we have good news, one would say. We are sitting in 17th place, literally 3 spots above the relegation zone, although only 2 points to safety. The thing, however, that concerns me with this is that we've played 19 matches, so we're 2 matches away from the halfway point in the season, and we only have 15 points. If we look at the results over the last 4 seasons, or the 4 seasons that Football Manager has, our alternate universe has been running here, in the Vanarama South, you've needed 40 points to just barely, and a decent goal differential to be safe last year. 2 years ago, you needed 43 and a decent goal differential. 3 years ago, you needed 43 and a decent goal differential. And 4 years ago, you needed 46. 43 would have done it. 43 and a decent goal differential. So, above 40, at least 43 points has been kind of that magic mark for safety. And at the pace we're going at, we're at about 34. So I think we can expect that a couple of these teams are going to find some decent form below us, and they're going to rack up some points. Now, if we're one of those teams, we can make it to safety. But I think it's naive to expect that if we're on like a 34-point pace average over the course of the season, that we're going to be safe at the end. So we've got to do better than we did in the first part of the season, although our recent form has looked pretty good with, again, some qualifications. So let's take a look at our schedule here. Our last match was that dramatic 1-0. Our last match that we viewed together was a dramatic 1-0 away win against Truro, where our goalkeeper Barden saved a penalty kick in the 94th minute to preserve the victory and give us the 1-0 win. We then went to third place Slough and tied them 0-0, which is our third 0-0 tie of the season, starting to highlight an issue that we're seeing with our performance here. So we picked up 4 points in 2 matches. We went to Oxford City, who sits, I believe, mid-table. 13th, so a little bit here in the bottom half, and picked up a 1-1 tie. Then we came and played East Thurrock on the road, came from behind to win 2-1. Very satisfying performance there. So there we've got 8 points in 4 matches, and I'm thinking, wow, we're really turning this around. Things are looking pretty good. Then this is a friendly, so dismiss this. Then we play Kingstonian and Welling. Don't score a goal, lose 3-0, and lose 1-0. The Kingstonian game, we actually played them. If we look at the shots, we played them not bad. I mean, they played better than us, and they should win. 3-0 is a little bit of an exaggeration. They kind of had a goofy goal to start things out, and once again picked up a penalty. We did have a red card in that Harvey Turner, our newly acquired striker, was sent off with a red card in the box in the 74th minute. So we were down a man late too and couldn't really get anything going. But just not a good performance. We couldn't get anything going. I think if we played this game maybe 10 times, we're probably going to lose on average like 2-0, 1-0 rather than 3-0, maybe 2-1, but still not an inspiring performance. Welling, a performance here again. We got outshot 2-1, so 15-7 on shots. Just never really got anything going. Gave up an early goal, kind of a freaky goal on off a set piece, and they picked up a 1-0 win. So yeah, our defense played well, but our offense really isn't doing much. What gets us to the point of kind of looking at our strikers, we brought in 2 strikers right towards the end of the episode, Breming and Turner, neither one of them producing all that well, although in their defense, they have just recently got into match conditioning. So hopefully they'll start to pick up the pace. Breming did get 1 nice goal in that East Thurrock game to give us that 2-1 win, but just since then really hasn't been very inspirational up front. Likewise, Turner picking up that red card in 1 match, playing at a 6.50 rating, just really hasn't done much at all up there to make us think that he's the answer. So I'm kind of thinking maybe I was a little bit grasping at straws to think that either one of those 2 would be the striker that we would need to be able to kind of bring our team kind of solidly in that way to be able to escape relegation without much of a relegation dogfight. So I'm still looking for a striker. We haven't brought in many players. I think actually since we last played, I have not brought in a single player. All of these players here were players Breming, Bassett, Campbell, Turner, and Bird were players we brought in right as we played the last game. I do have one player coming in, this guy Jamal Balogun, who is a left back, looks pretty good. Pretty excited about this guy because he can actually cross the ball. I mean, not great, a rating of 8. Our existing back, Rhodes, has played very, very well, but he's got a crossing of 4, so it's kind of like kick it and we just wonder where it goes. Whereas this guy, I think, might actually be able to connect with some of our offensive players, and maybe we can generate some offense out of that. His other numbers, in particular, tackling, look pretty good. Concentration and decisions, nice. Composure, a little bit of concern. Anticipation, okay, and his first touch there at a 4 is a little bit worrisome. Stamina and work rate, not the best, but should be functional for a left back, I think, compared to everything out there. So I'm kind of curious. He was relatively cheap at £220 per week, and we don't have another good option out at left back, so we needed someone as a backup to Rhodes because he was playing a lot and getting quite tired. That does take us, again, the problem I'm trying to solve, if we look at our table here, we look at goals for, we sit 21st in the league. We have scored 14 goals in 19 games. That's just not doing it. We've only scored 3 goals once. We get shot out a lot. Our defense here, because if we look at goals against, we sit actually mid-table. That's the wrong way. Clicking it this way, we sit a little below average in terms of goals allowed, but largely I think this has been because we've taken Barden, our goalkeeper, Daniel Barden, who by far our best player since we put him in goal. I know his ratings are low because we don't have the best defense in front of him, but every game when you watch him play, he saves a goal or 2 for our team, and that's really statistically been the difference. Our goal per game given up has gone down by about 1 since we put him in, and he's by far away our best player. If we sort by ability, it's Barden is a full star ahead of everybody else. He's just been outstanding. If we have troubles with him with injury, we might as well just kiss the season goodbye because he's literally single-handedly giving us points and giving us opportunities for points in almost every match he plays. You watch and you think, wow, that should have been a goal, and he just makes a great save. Speaking of if a player gets injured, we did have one interesting injury situation. We've got a rather large squad. I think this is just our senior squad. We've got almost 30 players on the squad right now up in the first team. I got to send some of them down, but some of them kind of first team key player issues. So we're starting to see a little bit of descent with playing time. I did have this guy, Paul Bolton, who was one of the defensive midfielders that we picked up early in the year. I don't like guys who get red cards. He got a red card early. I mean, he's been okay in kind of a backup role, and I needed to give David Martin, our first team defensive midfielder, a start. This guy started complaining about playing time, so I said, fine, okay, I'm going to give you a start and see what you do with it. And he promptly broke his leg, and now he's out for still, I think, timeout 3 weeks, but he's going to be out for 4 to 8 months. So pretty much the rest of the season with this broken left leg here. So bummer he's got a broken leg, but it did solve the problem of him complaining about playing time. So don't mention it to him. I'm kind of sitting there going, oh, wow, that's too bad. But really, at least now he can't, argue with me about playing time. So that's our only injury so far. Otherwise, I'm not sure there's too much to mention. We're trying to still solve our offensive woes. We're running. We'll take a look at our formation in a minute. We'll pick our team and get off to it. We've got to somehow start scoring more goals, although I've been fairly happy with our defensive performance. This, again, with the way things have been running. Last year, we had streaks where we kind of did this. We'd pick up 8 points in 4 games, and then we'd lose 5 games in a row. So I'm hopeful that we can get some kind of a result here, because now if we don't, we're going to have lost 3 matches in a row, and that's when we start to run into problems with the locker room. So this is almost, I feel like these next 2 games are kind of defining games for us. Because, what kind of team are we going to be? Are we going to be in a relegation fight, or do we have the mettle to be able to kind of distinguish ourselves from the bottom of the league and drift to that kind of lower half, just, somewhere like 15, 16, 17 place and stay solidly there without having to worry about drifting down into the relegation zone for a while. So I'm hopeful we can get something here without any more time wasted. Let's jump right into the match. Here is our starting 11. Again, now we've been able to get most of the players that we've targeted for starting roles are starting today's game. This is pretty much what I've been looking at, although we are still rotating out some of our central midfielders in here. Barden, our outstanding goalkeeper, will start today in goal. Rhodes, our singular and only left back at this point, again, as though we're bringing in a second one, has done very well after an abysmal start to the season. Haynes and Bassett will start at center back, although Gibbs does tend to rotate in and out with Haynes. They're both kind of equal ability and have played well. Manuel starting at fullback. He alternates with Treacher, and they both do well. Manuel has performed better, but they should perform over time. I'm expecting to perform pretty equally. Martin has done a fine job at defensive midfielder, a 6.9 rating so far over the season. Has really, along with Barden, has really kind of solidified our defense here. Askey and Nagesson kind of starting at midfielder roles. We do have a number of midfielders that are comparable. Sabanda, who's been coming in as a late sub. Akinola, who started out the year with us, one of the only players I think still play. Manuel is as well. But Akinola and Manuel then really kind of the only two players that started the year with us that are actually in a starting role right now. Akinola has been playing more from the bench with better midfielders starting to get into game shape. We do have a couple of other players, in particular Burgess, who does a pretty good job. And then, that's pretty much it for the moment. Campbell, of course, is our second best player on the team. He's shifted up into an attacking midfielder role, and I'm training him into that role. Hopefully he can develop more. Bremming and Turner are two newly acquired strikers who really haven't shown much up there. Leighton and Ozono on the bench, trying to jump in and jumpstart the offense should we struggle again as this match proceeds. I am considering we're playing Gloucester sits mid-table, a little bit higher, I think. And we're playing on the road. We're going to start a defensive outlook in this game, looking to counter off of their attacking formation and kind of attacking proclivity. So hopefully we'll be able to get something on the counter, and hopeful that we can get some points out of this match. And without further ado, let's head out into the drizzle here and get things started. Head to the dressing room. Let's give the other team some instructions. Our team talk, where are we? The general good mood amongst the players is average, and they immediately go quiet and look up with admiration. It would be good to remind the team that the pressure is off. I do feel like that does seem to work with them. They seem to kind of still not have kind of all that much determination when we kind of put pressure on them. So we're the underdogs here, and that suits us to the ground. How about we're huge underdogs, so there's no pressure on you to succeed. Let's try this. I don't think I've gone with this yet. Go out there and show everyone what you've got. Okay, that's pretty good. I am finding that these individuals, the defense and midfield and attack conversations that I haven't used so much so far, do seem to increase things and make them better. Especially this one here that says, I think there's a lot more to come from you, and I completely believe you got what it takes. That seems to turn everybody green with happiness. So I'm just kind of going with that every time, and I'm not sure if I'm overusing it, but it seems to result in a positive outcome. So we'll keep trying it for now. Let's end our team talk and let's get this going here. I don't really have a long-term strategy for this game other than to kind of see how we perform and perhaps adjust accordingly. I would like to eventually get us into, that was an abysmal pass out to the side there. I would like to get us into a mode, if we start getting pummeled on shots and opportunities here and can't really seem to hold our own, then I will shift us, I think, to a more positive mood. I feel like sometimes when we sit back here defensively, we really struggle to do good things. That's going to get crossed in front, isn't it? Oof. Okay, bounding the ball around. Okay, we beat it away. Another outside shot, moving the ball around. Okay, clearing it away, and they kick it wide. Okay, defensively, I feel like we held up pretty well there. That, although they're kind of holding possession in our end. Who is getting too much space for crosses? This is I should almost set that, I think, at the beginning of the match. We keep getting notifications almost every match that they're getting too much space for crosses, and particularly crosses kind of from their defenders and outside backs. And I think I want to start doing that right at the beginning of the match because they do seem to create opportunities against us here. And if we look even down here in this little display, these are outside crosses coming in from the outside that are causing us havoc here. Things have quieted down. Again, I'm not all that much against quiet games with little highlights, although I do appreciate that it's probably not so much fun for you as a viewer to watch, but it's kind of our tactical strategy so far is to grind these things out and hopefully we can get something on a counter. Free kick. Okay. That was pretty pathetic. I think this guy, Vukoje, I'm not sure how you would say his name. I think he's a guy that we almost picked up, almost bought from Gloucester, but in the end decided not to. Again, another player who, much like at this level, Turner crosses it in. Oh my goodness! I have a story about this. Bremming with the cross on a beautiful set piece, and we are up 1-0. I want to pause here after this highlight because I have a story about this. That came out of nowhere. Our first shot, what a beautiful header. One of the reasons, to the pause there, one of the reasons why I picked up Bremming was because he does have good heading in addition to having a good shot. We haven't had anyone until that's actually been able to do that. So, but however, I went in a couple times and I did set up some custom set pieces off corners. And because I noticed that when we were kicking the corners, we were just kind of kicking to the goalkeeper and we had no one on the goal. So I went to our greatest source for research in the world, YouTube, and I found some YouTube guy who said, just put your two of your best headers on the far post and on the near post and aim it for the far post. So I set up both of our set pieces, our corner pieces, to do that. I put our best header on the far post and the near post, and I aimed for the far post. And this is the first game we've put it into place. I don't think we've scored a goal off a set piece all season long, and we just picked one up there. So, yes, go me. I'm super excited that we just scored on a set piece to go up 1-0 here. That's a fantastic start, and I feel like I did something good. So many times I'll try to set something with a set piece or a tactics, and I feel like I just make it worse. That, however, was clearly better. No other way to say it. So I'm super ecstatic that worked. And if we could start getting some goals and points off set pieces, that'd be great, because we don't have the best shot takers, we don't have good set piece takers, and we don't have good... actually, we do have some fairly good headers now because I've been kind of intentionally looking to bring in those types of players. So from that perspective, that's good. And let's go to the halftime talk. We have been outshot 10-1, and so that's pretty bad. But our strategy kind of working here in terms of giving them not a lot of good chances. I don't feel like they were able to break through our defense and really get some solid chances here. And maybe as Gloucester gets a little bit more desperate, they will try to overreach a little bit, and maybe we can hit them on the counter. I'm pleased with how things are going. Keep it up. That's a little bit, but we're up 1-0, and we're kind of executing our strategy on the road against a better team. Let's go with that. Everybody looks delighted. I'm not sure if that's dangerous to get us a little bit too complacent, but let's see how the second half plays out here. If we could come out with a win off of that would be fantastic. O'Donnell dribbles down. And again, we have little trouble stopping the corner. Still getting a highlight? No, the highlight fades away, which suits me perfectly. I realize it's probably not exciting to look at these blue numbers kind of changing. We will need to address some changes, probably about 60 minutes or so. Getting too much space for crosses. Yes, now is he Jose? Jose is, what position is he? Is he there? He's their right back. Again, yeah, we see this position. Whoops, where did that go? Oh, I can get it down here. Always press. Yeah, let's do that. I feel like I should just do that from the start because that has created issues for us defensively, and we seem to do better when we press those outside backs before they can get crosses off, which kind of makes sense with the way we're playing defense and that we have a very narrow formation. I think if we give those outside backs too much time in that narrow formation, that results in them kind of hammering our defense here. So far, we haven't had any highlights. We are 15 minutes into the second half. What kind of substitutions might we be looking at here? Campbell has not played well in his role at midfielder, but he's such a good player. I'm going to give him a little time to work out of it. Both strikers doing fairly well here. Turner also in terms of ratings. I'm not sure why that's the case. Our defense has been outstanding. You know, for the moment, I'm tempted to switch out maybe ASCII here, but they have enough gas. I'm going to let it play for a while, and things are okay. So let's keep going to the 70th minute maybe. They've started to sub here, bringing in Davis for Prescott. But wow, a quiet match. This may be the fewest highlights I've seen. I don't really feel like we need to make much changes to our tactics, although we can just start to hint at wasting time here. Maybe the next 10 minutes, then we'll go in. I think it might be a good idea to replace he's picked up his play. Campbell's still not playing well. Let's switch him to an attacking role just for kicks and giggles. Not sure if that will hurt us a little bit defensively, but let's try it for 10 minutes here. And let's bring Akinola in for Askey, who hasn't been playing well, and we'll shift him to a ball-winning midfielder support role because he's pretty good at that. Okay, let's go with that. Get some fresh legs in there. He'll take a little bit more of a defensive approach here as we shifted Campbell to a more offensive approach. 75 minutes in. Things are still quiet, and I'm loving it. Sorry, fans, if this is kind of the least highlighted game we've had so far. A little bit over 12 minutes to go. They substitute in a striker. Let's run it another minute here. Too many free... No, I don't like to specifically mark players in the box because that seems to free up other players. So I'm going to leave that recommendation out. Let's start to waste time. Significantly waste time because there's about 10 minutes left here. 82 minutes. Oh, if we could pick up a win here. I would almost be embarrassed to pick up a win. They've had 15 shots and we've had one. And we would come up with a 1-0 victory. That would be extraordinarily cheesy. But, oh, here we go. What do we got going on? I hope we don't lose it in the 87th minute here, though. Nope, nothing there. Okay, we have the ball down in their end. I'm tempted. We're wasting time, please. Good. Rhodes feeds it out to Nguesen, to Akinola. Akinola to Martin. Heads it in. What's going on there? Oh, that goes out to their outside back, and now they're attacking down the side. Martin with a fantastic tackle there. Not sure if that's the highlight we're looking for. Okay, please. No. Crossed in front. Headed away. Breming there, picks it up. Is this a break for us then? Feeds it back. Up, nothing there. Okay. I don't even know how to say this guy's name. Adelbisi, maybe. Adelbisi to Dormer. Dormer sends it forward. Ain sends it to Akinola, who bounces it to the outside. Okay, this is making me a little nervous here. I've gone so long with few highlights. Crosses it in front. Oh, what a save by Barton. Again, that's been the type of thing we've been seeing. Get it out of here. Get it out of here. Good. Okay, I think with 2 minutes to go, we should start making some subs here to waste time. Let's bring in Sabanda for Nguesen, and then if he comes in, I can bring Ozono in for Turner to waste even more time. Can we get a sub? Okay, he's on. And let's try to bring in one more. Ozono in for Turner. He's better in a support role, although with seconds left, that shouldn't matter. Confirm changes. Play. Over another minute. Uh-oh, last final free kick. No. Yes! Barton picks it up. This should do it. Kick it away. This could be the cheesiest victory ever. I'm almost embarrassed. There it is! Fantastic! Oh my God, look at this. Did we really only get one shot and win? We did. They had 19 shots. We had one shot and we won 1-0. But I hate to say it, for the amount of ability that we've got and for the players we've got, I do look at the other teams. Let's go into the dressing room and let's talk and do something at the same time. We do look at the ability on the other team's rosters. They have better players than us. And almost every time I look at the tactics box, I see we're going to find their standard challenging. So we clearly have to stay with somewhat of a conservative approach to most of the games we play, especially playing on the road against a team that's considerably higher than us. So we do, I think, in all fairness, have to take this approach. But it certainly feels very cheesy when we win 1-0 with one shot and the other team had 19. In all fairness, though, we didn't give them very many good chances, if any. I mean, they had actually maybe 2 or 3 good chances. But I think our defense played fantastic. And once again, you can see where Barden, he makes that save late in the match, and all of a sudden, instead of it being a 1-1 draw, we've got a 1-0 victory. So I have to say, playing on the road, people had us written off today, and you proved them all wrong. I'm not going to go passionate. I'm going to kind of stay calm. Well done on a great result. Everybody's delighted. Let's end our team talk. And let's see how we may have adjusted in the standings here. I think those are a huge and totally unexpected 3 points. We stay in 17th place. it looks like some teams again starting to move underneath, but now we've got 18 points over 20 matches. If we could pick up a win in our next match, we'd have 21 points over 21 matches, which would be a nice pace for us. This is still, I think, at relegation pace, but considering how bad we started, I think we only had 3 points after 10 matches. So then we've got 15 points in our subsequent 10 matches. Doing the math for that, our play has clearly picked up. Although I don't think we can expect to get outshot 19-1 and come away with 3 points very often. Still, that leaves us solidly in 17th place. We are 4 points above the relegation zone. Only a point ahead of the 18th and 19th team, but tied in points and tied in goal differential with the 16th place team, within striking range of these two teams as well. So we're starting to shift upwards, and the thing that I really like about that match was that we broke that run of 2 losses. So if we kind of take out the non-competition ones here, and we look at what's going on. We had those 2 losses. It's certainly nice not to get 3 losses in a row and just kind of break those up, because last year, if we looked at what we had, we had these runs earlier in the year, 5 losses, 3 losses in a row. Those things are just killers for morale and hard to rebound from. So if we can lose a couple and then pick up a win and a tie or something like that, I think that's a pace that's going to keep us up. And again, our goal for the season is survival. We are predicted to go down. We only had 1 player at the beginning of the season, only 1 player that was fit for this level. So I'm thrilled if we can just stay up, and fingers crossed, we may be in shape to kind of, if we can keep things up here, we're going at a good pace. What do they say about the game? Then we'll wrap this up and just take a look forward to the future. Lady Luck smiled on Hampton and Richmond bar this afternoon. They somehow managed to snatch an unlikely 1-0 victory against Gloucester City. I will say, I go back to that, setting up those set pieces before. Put a good header on the far post, put a good header on the front post, and kick the ball to the far post, keeping it really simple. That was the difference in this match. So I'm pretty happy with the fact that I just set up those set pieces. I actually tried to set them up for the 2 matches before this, but for whatever reason, they weren't working and people weren't in the right place. I don't think I had saved them quite right in the setup screen, but then I kind of putzed around with it before this match and managed to figure that out. So I'm pretty happy that I was able to put in a set piece where it was kick the ball to the far post. We get a corner in the game, we kick the ball to the far post, and Breming heads it into the net as one of our best headers. So I'm really happy. If we're relegated, if we save from relegation by 2 points at the end of the season, I'm going to kind of look back to this and say, wow, I did that. That was pretty cool. Despite all the things that I've done poorly or incorrectly and stuff like that, that does appear to be something that I did get right. So poacher David Breming gave Hampton and Richmond the lead with a close range header in the 32nd minute in a low key affair. Quality was in short supply. Yeah, no kidding. I think we had 4 or 5 highlights the whole time, with the vast majority of shots failing to even hit the target. All of our shots hit the target. I should tell the, what is this? BBC London? Yeah, BBC London. We were 100% of our shots hit the target there. So in your face, dude. Hampton and Richmond have been performing above expectations in the Vanarama National League South so far this season. Find themselves in 17th place. Hampton and Richmond have won 3 of their last 5 away games in the league. Fantastic stuff. Going ahead, where will we go? It is turning to late November. We have the FA Cup third qualifying round. We did get a tough draw in that we got Welling, who just beat us 1-0. And as we watched that match, they are a better team than us, sitting slightly above the middle of the table in our same league. So not all that hopeful we can pull a result out there. But to be honest, I really don't care about the Cups this season. I think I concentrated them on a little bit too much last year, and then they just wore our players out and kind of created all kinds of issues. So looking forward to next month, we'll have Dartford, Hemel Hempstead, which is 22nd in the league. I think they've only won 1 match all year, so be nice and definitive to pick up some points there. I may come back for that one because that might be a big match for us. Then this is the start of the second half of the season, so we have Dartford, the last match of the first half of the season. We'll head into the back half of the season. Hopefully, with fingers crossed, maybe we'll be able to avoid that kind of fingernail-biting, frantic finish where we had last year, and we, of course, we dropped off at the end and just fell into the relegation zone and needed a miracle to pull ourselves out of it. But hopefully we can avoid that. It'd be nice to not have to be up late nights worrying about that as we go forward. But that's enough for this episode. Thank you so much for coming by. As always, the likes, the comments, any comments, subscriptions, they do help make me think that this is worth doing. So I love to see them, and if you're enjoying it, I would appreciate those things from you. Thanks for stopping by. We will be back in December, probably for the Hemel-Hempstead match. Maybe Braintree or Woking, as we don't have much to play between now and then. So we'll be back in December for the next episode. Thanks for coming by, everybody. Have fun with Football Manager and have a great day.